Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the weekend preview for the 2019 Chinese Grand Prix. Now this weekend we'll see Formula 1 celebrate its 1000th Grand Prix, although that's not technically true, but it is officially being billed as their 1000th F1 race, which again isn't really the case, but anyway it is, but it isn't, but more or less is. Although I think if we include F2 regulations in the Indy 500, whatever, it's the 1000th something, let's just enjoy it. But anyway, before I get on to some of the stats ahead of the weekend, let's start by having a quick look back at last year's Grand Prix. It was a race of two halves. It had a steady start with the biggest talking point really being Bottas jumping Vettel through the pit stops to take the lead. But all of a sudden, thanks to the two Toro Rossos getting in a tangle and bringing out the safety car, the race burst into life. Red Bull were able to double stack their drivers for a quick change of tyres, giving them a big advantage over those ahead of them. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton nearly collided as the Dutchman tried to make a move, but that left the Red Bull off track, allowing his teammate Daniel Ricciardo to try and take on those ahead, and he did. Having already passed Kimi Raikkonen, he dispatched Hamilton and Vettel before pulling off one of the overtakes of the year on Bottas at turn 6. Once again, another Danny Ric dive bomb special. Verstappen tried to follow his teammate through the field, and having already cleared Hamilton, he set his sights on Vettel and, well, yeah. As I'm sure you'll remember very well, they collided, leaving the German dropping through the field and the Dutchman with a 10-second time penalty. Away from the top three teams though, Pierre Gasly was slapped with a penalty for the incident with teammate Brendan Hartley, and Fernando Alonso passed the struggling Vettel on the final lap to finish 7th, having started the race down in 13th place. As for the stats and information from last year, it was Sebastian Vettel who took pole position with a time of a 1:31.095, with Daniel Ricciardo going on to take victory on Sunday ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Raikkonen. Ricciardo also set the fastest lap of the race with a time of a 1:35.785 on lap 55, and there were 19 finishers in the Grand Prix, and all of those were on the lead lap thanks to that safety car. What about the circuit then? Well, the track length is 5.451 kilometres, or if you would prefer that in miles, that is 3.387. There are 16 corners, 7 to the left and 9 to the right, and there will be 56 race laps on Sunday. At time of recording, there are just the 2 DRS zones around Shanghai, the first being between turns 13 and 14, and the second down the start-finish straight between turns 16 and, of course, the first corner. And the race lap record was set back in 2004 by Michael Schumacher with a time of a 1:32.239. The run from pole to the turn 1 apex is 458.1 metres, and the total pit lane lost time at 80 km an hour, of course, is 17.2 seconds. The highest lateral G around the circuit is at turn 7, that comes in at 4.3, and drivers are at full throttle for 54% of the lap. In terms of overtaking, Mercedes say that the best spots are turn 1 and turn 14, really the hairpin at 14 is the best spot to pull an overtake. Gotta say, with that super long straight and the more powerful DRS for this season, that could all get a little bit OP, but then again I said that about Bahrain and what a race we got. But as well as those two options from Merc, I've got to throw in turn 6 as well. It's another very good overtaking opportunity again, as we saw last year. Now, the Chinese Grand Prix debuted back in 2004, and during its time on the calendar, we've seen a total of 9 different winners from 15 races. Not a bad tally, really. And the pole sitter has gone on to take victory on 9 occasions, with the winner coming from the front row 10 times. The average winning margin at Shanghai is a little over 10.2 seconds, with the biggest margin being 37.7 seconds, and the smallest just over 7 tenths. The full safety car does like to make an appearance, as we saw last year, of course, with it being called out on 10 occasions in total, and the fastest ever lap of the circuit was set by Sebastian Vettel last year on his way to pole position. Thanks, as always, to Lights Out Blog for providing the stats for this preview. If you do love a good stat, then make sure you check out their website and give them a follow over on Twitter. On to the tyres for the weekend then, and the compounds available are the hard C2, the medium C3 and the soft C4. And in terms of driver selection, there's a real mix in the top 3 teams, particularly in their selection of the medium tyre, with Leclerc, for example, taking 5 sets and Bottas only taking 3. Soft tyres, however, Hamilton and Bottas are both taking 8, as is Verstappen, with Vettel, Leclerc and Gasly all taking 7. And then, to be fair, pretty much the rest of the field are all taking 8 sets, with the exceptions being Sainz and Norris, who have 9, and Russell and Kubica with 7. Time for a weather report, I think, and I'll keep it brief because, let's face it, it'll probably change by the weekend anyway. But at time of recording, and according to the Met Office, it doesn't look at the moment as though rain will make an appearance, with the highest chance percentage being 10%, and that is for qualifying and the race. Like I say though, as ever, there is still plenty of time for that to change yet. So usually at this point I'd run through 3 news stories in a sort of mini rundown. However, as it is maybe the 1000th Grand World Championship FIA F1 pre-race, I thought we'd have a quick look at a few of the previous Milestone races and the stats that they have offered up. The 100th World Championship event was held back in 1961 in Germany and was won by Stirling Moss. Interestingly, that was his final win, final podium and final points in his Formula 1 World Championship career, although that stat is a bit skewed because his career was cut short following a huge crash at Goodwood. Moss, of course, is regarded by many as the greatest driver never to win a Formula 1 World Championship title. What a driver. The 1990 Australian Grand Prix played host to Milestone race number 500, with Nelson Piquet taking the win from Nigel Mansell and Alain Prost. The race was overshadowed, though, by the events at the previous Grand Prix in Japan, where Ayrton Senna, let's say controversially, took the title after colliding with Alain Prost. The 700th race was held at Brazil in 2003, and, well, what a Grand Prix that was. The now infamous river at Turn 3 caught out some of the best drivers on the grid and left them in the wall. Mark Webber had a huge crash on the start-finish straight, and Fernando Alonso had an even bigger one as he hit a wheel on track, bringing out the red flag and ending the race. Now, that red flag caused confusion, with Kimi Raikkonen wrongly being given the win, and before the next race at Imola, the win was handed to Giancarlo Fisichella. So the 700th Grand Prix gave us chaos, drama and excitement, as well as Fisichella's first win and Jordan's last. And the 800th was held at Singapore in 2008. Not much to talk about there. Pretty standard race, no drama really. Well, I mean, apart from the fact it was the first ever night race. Massa's championship bid taking a hit thanks to being told to leave his pit box with the fuel hose still attached. And of course, Crashgate, which gave Fernando Alonso that massively controversial win. So yeah, pretty standard Grand Prix. The last milestone, by the way, was obviously race number 900, and that was the 2014 Bahrain Grand Prix, a cracking race, but hardly race of the century as was claimed by Nico Rosberg on Sky F1 last time out. On to my one to watch for this weekend then, and this time around I'm going to go for Carlos Sainz. I think it's fair to say that the Spaniard has had a difficult start to the season thanks to his collision with Verstappen in Bahrain and his mechanical issues in Australia, both of which have obviously led to DNFs. The thing is, as has been demonstrated in qualifying and during the race in Bahrain, that McLaren has some good pace, and so Sainz really could do with a nice clean Grand Prix and for a bit of luck to go his way so he can kickstart his season. He's got good form in China, going well last year, starting 9th and finishing 9th, and has actually scored in 3 of his 4 appearances in Shanghai, so fingers crossed for him this weekend. I suppose if we're talking about drivers who could do with a good weekend, Daniel Ricciardo would surely be on that list, as absolutely would be Romain Grosjean and Pierre Gasly, and I'm sure you will all think of a few more. Plenty of drivers to keep an eye on in China. That is it then for the Chinese Grand Prix preview, and in the comments section down below, let me know your predictions ahead of this weekend. Who do you think will put it on pole position on Saturday? Who will take the win on Sunday? And which driver is your one to watch? Now, I will be back on Saturday at 6:30 AM UK time for the qualifying watch-along, with the qualifying report following later in the day. And don't forget to join me on Sunday for the race watch-along and the race reaction stream. Well, unless, of course, I get slapped with another copyright strike, but fingers crossed everything will be fine. In the meantime, though, you can follow me over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.